Welcome to Aligned and Local, the podcast where community takes center stage. I'm Christina, local realtor and your host, here to bring you inspiring stories from the incredible business owners, community leaders, and change makers shaping our neighborhoods. Whether we're spotlighting local heroes, diving into the latest market trends, or exploring what makes this community such a special place to call home, this show is all about connection, collaboration, and celebrating the heart of where we live. So if you're ready to align with what matters most, your home, your community, and your goals, let's jump in. In this episode, I am beyond excited to introduce to you a friend of mine who some of you know. He is someone who's been a huge part of my line dancing journey. His name is Kevin Machak. Kevin is a true line dancing extraordinaire with over a decade of experience, and he has been sharing his passion and expertise as a line dance instructor 3 nights a week at Saddle Up at Q. That's not all, though. Kevin also offers private lessons. He hosts workshops where he teaches a ton of lessons at each workshop at a very, very low cost. He also teaches at various events. He's the person who taught me everything I know about line dancing, and he brings so much energy and heart to every class he leads. Kevin is not just about the moves. He's dedicated to fostering community and has a huge heart for non-for-profits. I cannot wait for you to hear his story and all the incredible work that he is doing. Line dancing obviously has changed my life.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only person who feels that way.
Yeah.
Tell us about you, who you are, how you ended up here.
Yeah. So, I started line dancing, 2010, maybe 2011. It's been like 14, 15 years now. And my friend dragged me out to a line dancing bar, Saddle Up, the OG Saddle Up. I didn't really want to go, but they were like, well, you're single. You seem like, you're down a little bit. Let's go out to the bar. I'm like, okay, don't really like country music, I'll be honest. But I went, and I don't know, I kind of liked it, was a little intrigued, but wasn't sure what I was doing. And then I found myself saying, you know what, I might as well. And then I went back and with my friend, and I thought I might as well participate, because if I'm here, it'll be more fun if I join in, and found myself, shuffling with the rest of them. That was, like I said, 2010, 2011, kind of the earlier days. And then I just grew from there. And now actually I've loved country music. So it really hooks you. And something that I never thought I would like doing is now become a hobby of mine.
Isn't line dancing only country music?
No. Big misnomer. Big misnomer. But depends on how you market yourself, how you refer to it, because the broad umbrella of line dancing includes country line dancing. It includes pop line dancing, hip hop line dancing, sometimes called stepping. But it can be whatever your particular crowd, venue, bar, your own interest as an instructor. I like to teach to all of it. So sometimes finding the right balance can be a little challenging, but no, line dancing, I mean, it has exploded with TikTok of your pop, and your non-country line dancing is very big nowadays. So Ed Sheeran, Shivers. I mean, who would have thought a redheaded Canadian, his number one hit would be one of the number one line dances out there? You know how it is.
That's probably part of why line dancing blew up the way it did. So the interesting thing is I came because of Sarah. I was actually showing her places, and we promised that we were going to go to karaoke and line dancing. And we promised, like, as we were looking at, like, we were standing in the one, she was about to write an offer on the one. And we were like, okay, so here's the deal. We can't do the adult thing and not follow up. We have to schedule this before your inspection. It has to be on our calendar that we're going to do this.
Oh, yeah.
And that is how I landed in Saddle Up the first time, was because of that. It had nothing to do with like line dance is trending. She's been dancing for how many years? As long as you, I think. And so right about that time, though, was really funny, because that's when it became like the cool thing that everybody's doing. And how many new places have we had open up in our area over the last year?
Yeah. Well, and so here's a big thing.
Yeah.
Most people, I feel like, don't know what to do with their bodies when they're dancing. They do a little wobble, they're awkward. Like, a lot of people, no disrespect, and I'm one of those. Outside of line dancing, I don't know. I'm not like a good freestyler dancer.
Yeah.
So line dancing gives you at least a start. It gives you structure.
Yeah.
It gives you at least, some moves to learn. And if you want to take those moves, run with it, and just open yourself to shuffling, dancing, doing whatever, great.
Yeah.
But at least it gives you like a foundation, somewhere to start, because people don't know what to do with their feet
Or
and
their hands.
or their hands. Well, line dancing is a
Doesn't
little,
solve that, actually.
not a lot of hand movements, a little bit, a lot of
Yeah.
clapping more than anything. But no, I think it's great for just giving people something to start with, builds their confidence. I mean, I see people like even you, right? So, little, shameless
being
plug
nice.
here. Well, shameless plug. I do one-on-one instruction, at home instruction. I don't really have a studio of my own, but I
Or
do
in
that. I do
parks.
workshops in parks, outside, that kind of thing. So I had a quick little story for you all. She is a great example of a newbie that has come a long way with just a little extra help. So, while I, helped you and did my part, it really is, the onus is on, the people to take that a little extra time to have the confidence and just know that, okay, I may be a beginner, but I'm going to work at it. And you put in the work, and she's come a really long way. I did a at-home lesson with you doing a dance called Dizzy. Very aptly, properly called that, because it can be disorienting. A lot of
Yeah.
spins, a lot of turns, and long story short, harder dance. But she got it with just a little extra instruction. So
He's being nice. I
yeah,
kind of sort of got it that
kind
day.
of sort of got
And
okay.
then saw him on the dance floor a couple weeks later, stumbling all over the place. He's like, I taught you this. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I
Yeah,
forgot it already.
but you worked at it. You worked
I
at it.
did. In the beginning, I don't even know if you know this. So I would stand in the back and I would make a list of the ones you guys did. And I would go home and I would take the ones I learned and I would relearn them at home because it's the only way I'd ever remember them. But I danced for sometimes 3 hours a day.
Wow.
Like when I very first started, because I was like obsessed with being able to dance when I was there.
Sure.
People would try to talk to me, and I'm still a little bit that way sometimes. People try to talk to me, I'm like, shh, shh. And I'm like watching people's feet. Yeah, because I want to learn the dances. That's the whole reason I'm like, I don't even drink. So like,
Yeah.
I'm standing at a bar to learn dances.
So with line dancing, right, it's really to get people to come back, to build that support for that business, but also for one another, that community. Because how many times, would you go to name whatever place, a restaurant, a bar? I mean, nobody goes to the same place over and over again. Why would you, right? But with line dancing, it's a little bit different because there's always new dances. It's evolving. I think you mentioned in the intro, right? Saddle Up, that I work at and teach at 3 days a week, 3 nights a week. It's really become kind of a family and a community, right?
Yeah.
We really are a tight group. I mean, there are just people there that are just, I don't know, they line dancers are built differently, right? They're just some of the nicest people.
Well, they're there for a thing.
They're there for a
They're not there
reason.
to drink and have drama. And while it might exist a little bit because it's human.
Right. They're not there for the sole purpose of getting, drunk.
Right.
May happen, on accident. You throw a few back, you're doing some spins, and all of a sudden you're not really focused on that. And it's just, I don't know. And they help people out on the floor, which is always great to see, our new people, as long as those new people are trying and also being respectful, right?
Saddle Up is a prime example of what business should be. And there's so many like this in our community. It's just such an easy to explain because of the dancing. Business exists to make money. And you make money by serving a purpose and solving a problem for people. It really gives, like, it's everybody I know who line dances, it's their healing. It's where most of their friendships exist. There's so many really cool things about it. But how did you start doing your workshops?
So the workshops came about just because I saw a need and just decided to jump on it. And it was really, well, it was that coupled with just kind of a little bit of a happenstance too, because Brittany, shout out to Brittany with the dance lab, she came in and we got to talking. And I think she mentioned she was opening up a new studio and would I be interested? And at the time I was already kind of thinking, how can I do workshops? So yes, so there's Kevin as the Saddle Up instructor. There's also Kevin as his own kind of independent, kicking it with Kevin. That's kind of my own brand. So I kind of had that mirrored with Saddle Up, but also kind of do some things on my own. And I'm doing workshops now. I'd like to see Saddle Up maybe get some workshops in the near future. And I think if I can maybe start and give them an example of what those might look like, maybe that's a way to go about doing it. But I thought, well, while they're not doing workshops at the moment, and I get it, takes a lot of planning, a lot of more staff, to do those kinds of things that you don't necessarily need in a studio. I thought I would just, you know what, let's just start at the dance lab and see how it can evolve. The difference between doing it at the studio or a workshop in general, take a little bit more time, a little bit more deliberate with your instruction. You can slow down. You can say, okay, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
When it's a workshop, it can take longer with the lessons. And again, it came out of that need for new people to like, okay, I'm getting anxious at the bar. I need the lessons to be a little bit slower. Okay, well, come to my workshop. So I have those the third Sunday of every month for the most part. There might be a month, I think coming up in May, I'll have to do some rescheduling.
What advice do you have for line dancers who want to come dance to live music?
We do line dance even to live bands at Saddle Up most Saturdays. So, that's an opportunity if you want more of your throwback country. A lot of the bands tend to do some of those older 90s country versus today's more pop country, which again, fine, whichever you like, but there's something for everybody. But live music is a little bit different of a ball game, but can also be, again, just freshen, spice things up a little bit. The bands that do really well for us are those that are engaging with our audiences, high energy, keep the pace of the songs and not slow them down, keep them kind of, if anything, speed up the song a little bit, make it just, I don't know. Our dances and our nights do really well when the energy is high.
Yeah.
The music is upbeat. The bands are upbeat. They're playing both the classics, but also should be playing some of the newer stuff.
I happen to know that you went through some really, really tough things right before COVID. And the story of how you dealt with COVID comes up all the time in a lot of different people I talk to.
Really? Oh,
all the
I
time.
didn't know people were still talking, which is great.
They talk about it. People tell me all the time, like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah. Like I act surprised because they're really excited and passionate about it. But your name comes up and they talk about what you did during COVID.
Yeah, so COVID hit. Tough time for everybody. So it was what, March? Well, February. So February of 2020, my girlfriend at the time was hit by a car on Valentine's Day. I had a line dancing gig on Valentine's Day 2020 and had a lovely dinner with my girlfriend at the time, Lindsay. We had parted ways because I had to do my thing. She had to do hers. She was a singer in a band. Thank you. Dixie Crush. Love them. And she passed away 3 days later. Toughest 3 days of my life, right? Being in the hospital. Yeah. It was like middle of February. And then sure enough, 2-3 weeks later, it was like COVID lockdown. I was still grieving and grappling with that loss and that guilt, right, that I had to leave her behind, that I wasn't there, and whatever.
I didn't even think of that.
Well, yeah, it sticks with you. I'm not sure I'm totally healed, but I'm moving on. I was wrestling with that, and line dancing has long been a coping mechanism. And as I was dealing with the loss of Lindsay, now the whole world seemed to be shutting down and falling apart.
Which everybody struggled with.
So
not having to go through something so big going into it.
I know. So kind of felt like, man, I don't want to be alone. And I'm sure there's other people grieving with, we all have stuff through life, right? And now COVID, we can't be together. So I decided that I would do at various places around the Naperville, Aurora area. We started to do, as the weather was warming up, outdoor line dancing in boxes. I literally made squares with chalk, for an hour outside, and even and that went on even to the summer and the hotter months, right? 80 degrees outside. I'm sweating up a storm, drawing these boxes on my hands and knees of squares on the ground for people to dance in and keep to their own squares so they could be 6 feet apart. It's like, how do you take that concept? And it was sort of becoming cliche at that point of, you got to maintain 6 feet apart and have your masks on. So we said, I thought, how can I bring people together, not have to deal with the masks and be necessarily indoors, but still enjoy dancing? And so we did parking lot line dancing.
Yeah.
For, a good probably 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And we kind of took it indoors as the lists were getting restricted. And then a year later of doing all of that, and some of it did have to be the indoors, we did have to kind of line dance with masks on for a while. But going back to like, yeah, it lifted people's spirits, and I think if you're saying that people still bring that up, it must have stuck with people and mean more than I even imagined it would. So
It made a big difference.
well, thank
and
you.
It really does come up a lot.
Well, and let's be honest, I think it kind of got me noticed, and it's like, okay, not just I'm a line dance instructor, but that I'm somebody that is forward thinking and creative, and it got me noticed by Bob Taft, who is the owner of Saddle Up at Q. And as they were exploring purchasing the original Saddle Up after COVID, because it had shut down, I kind of encouraged that and was like, yeah, open it up, dude. Like, you've got something there.
Yeah.
And it's changed. It's changed quite a bit. Some people have kind of come and gone, and that's okay. But no, all good. It's just been an amazing ride. There are 3 nights a week, as well as doing those workshops now with the dance lab, and trying to be a little bit contained and have my regular things, but then also branch out and expand a little bit.
So we kind of brushed over something that I think is pretty important. How do we go from Kevin, who was 2 left feet figuring it out, falls in love with line dancing, to Kevin becomes a line dance instructor and really helps share that passion with other people?
It's a good question. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of time to learn the dances and just be a better dancer, let alone instructor. But there was a point where I was like, you know what? I think I can really teach and bring something new and fresh. I saw potential in newer dances, newer music, and connecting with people in a way that I don't think other instructors were. And but I got it took a lot of a lot of coaching, a lot of training, a lot of searching on YouTube. I just didn't do it overnight. My first time teaching, I had to teach before a couple other seasoned instructors and managers, literally in front of them, do all the counts, name all the steps, name the dance, name the song, name the artist,
That's like
all of
boot
that.
camp.
It was a little intense, a little intimidating, but I think I nailed it.
Clearly,
It was,
it worked out okay.
yeah, it worked out okay. It got me, a job 1-2 nights a week, and it just kind of grew from there. And I've had to face some adversity with that and challenges along the way, loss, as I talked about before. But it's been a crazy ride. And I've met some fantastic people and friends and heard their stories, and the people, I try to inspire people to learn dancing, but they also inspire me and lift me up very much.
Yeah. So for people who don't know line dancing, they're always very, very shocked when they hear how many there are. I know I was in the beginning. How many line dances are there?
There's probably thousands, if not maybe over 1 million. I mean, every day it's kind of crazy and ridiculous. It's fun because it keeps you, no pun intended, on your feet. Keeps you on your toes, right?
Dad joke.
I know. No, but I mean, every day there's probably a dozen new dances that come out as new music comes out, whether again, pop, country, hip hop, rock, even. We do Burn It to the Ground, which is a little bit more edgy with Nickelback. But there are tons of dances, and my challenge is, okay, how many new ones are we going to bring in? Because now it's something more people got to learn, and sometimes they miss that lesson, and then they find themselves having to play catch up, and now all of a sudden they're at like 5 new dances that they haven't learned, and they learn a couple. They had just learned a bunch, and now there's these new ones. So
I'm more behind than that. Right
yeah,
now.
well, that's okay. We'll get you there, but that's where the workshops can kind of come in, so I can teach more at once. That's the other thing about the workshops is I can teach 10 dances at a time versus on a regular night it might be 3 dances. So that's kind of, I don't know, there's a lot there to that question. I mean, there's just so many dances. It's kind of crazy. And
haven't you created some to add to that list?
well, yeah. BFE, Glasses to the Rafters, Mood to Celebrate, and Had Some Help. And Had Some Help is my favorite. I mean, and it's not even about the dance or that I made it, but it's more about the fact that so many people enjoy it, brings a smile to their face.
That one caught fire.
It caught fire.
What happened at Nashville Dance Fest?
So I went to Nashville Dance Fest, obviously in Nashville, in the last fall. I want to say September. Plan on going again this year, so you should go.
I need to. I was
you guys out
in Mexico
there
last year, so this year I should put it on my list.
You guys should go to Nashville Dance Fest. Quick plug for them. Hopefully they'll have me as an instructor. If not, that's okay. But I would love to teach there. But I ran into some basically
Do we have to
fans there.
sign a petition? We could sign a petition.
Sign a petition. Let's get that going,
Kicking it
baby.
with Kevin,
Kicking it with
teaching it.
Kevin. Let's kick it at Nashville Dance Fest.
Yeah.
But I ran into this girl there, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, kicking it with Kevin. I follow you on social media, on your TikTok. Saw your line dance, had some help, and loved it, and have learned it, and posed for a picture. It was
Yeah.
amazing. It was
I
so
get
fun.
goosebumps.
We talked about connecting with other people. You connect with people on a whole nother level, and people across the world, even, or across the country, based on line dancing and that shared experience, right? It's kind of that shared experience of I'm learning this dance and so is somebody else from across the pond. It's really, or across the country. It's really cool to see. And then when you meet these people that you see and maybe follow, that, you follow them on social, but you don't necessarily know these people. But then when you finally do meet them, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a special moment.
It's super cool. And I forget where I heard this story, but there was somebody who referred to you as the Had Some Help guy, which is a big deal.
That Had Some Help.
When they know your dance faster than they know your name, that's a big deal.
So Had Some Help also happens to be a dance that was picked up by a woman named Tanya, and she is spearheading this initiative, or this event, I should say, called the World Dance Showdown. And that is basically a line dancing competition for choreography. I think there's also some dance demos and just dancing competition, but I think they're definitely going to include choreography. And she noticed my dance. And there's another one out there that is, I'll be honest, pretty popular too. An easier dance, same song. So we'll see what happens with that. But it was enough. My dance choreography was enough to be noticed by her, and she encouraged me to register that dance to be a part of this competition.
Did you do it?
I'm in the process. I think I'm in the process of doing that. So I'll keep you all posted. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be there. So that takes place November 13th through the 15th of this year. So this fall. So still got a whiles to go, but that's in Indianapolis, Indiana, that competition. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna demonstrate my dance. Hopefully, bring some of our good dancers with us to really showcase it and nail it, and hopefully bring home, my first award. I think
that would be
really
so cool.
It would be so cool. Not trying to get my hopes up though, but we'll see what happens. So if you're not familiar with that dance, you can go on this website, Copper Knob, and it has sheets that list the steps, aka step sheets, that literally spell out the dances. And if you search my name, Kevin Machak, you can see the few that I've choreographed. Again, not a lot, but kind of dabbled in it. It's something that I want to venture into more this year, is choreography and kind of spreading my wings a little bit and dancing and traveling the country, dancing a little bit.
What did little Kevin want to be when he grew up?
That's a good question. I don't know. I still don't know.
Like, I still haven't grown up.
I still haven't grown up. I still don't know what older Kevin might say about that. Right now I do video production work, which again is the same idea. It brings people together, telling people stories and informing people and getting people to relate to one another through video. I mean, and I take video when I'm dancing. I try to be a little cautious of that because, again, keep that right balance, because I want to demonstrate our dances, but I also want to be in the moment. And that's one thing we didn't touch on, is line dancing is so yes, people will capture and take little tidbits of themselves and post to TikTok, which I love, because it's, again, furthering the awareness, getting people's attention, and they get attention. It's great. But I love that also there's a period of time where they're not capturing the whole night, that they have their phones down. We're so in our phones all the time. And line dancing is a great way to get off of our phones, get on our feet, have some exercise, have that camaraderie, get to know other people. And it's just, I don't know. There's something to be said for that.
Well, I'm such a task-oriented person that chill out is not a thing I do well. If my body's doing something and I'm focused on that, I don't know if you know this or not, but I had to have a hysterectomy probably almost a year before I started line dancing.
Wow.
And I have really gone through some stuff in regard to that. Like, just, I think at times I maybe wasn't even as okay as I thought I was, because that's who I am, right? Like, I'm always okay.
Yeah.
But line dancing is really been what has helped me get through
mechanism.
that in such a big way. And it's that for so many people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I I don't know. It's a special thing for sure to get to share with the world. Really quick, I do want to touch on, because I mentioned it in your intro. Obviously, you work for a non-for-profit. You also, I have seen other posts and things like that on your social media where even outside of the non-for-profit that you work for, you've just got a really big heart for non-for-profit. Where did that come from?
It's a good question. I think yes, it's the non-for-profit, but it's really what the work that they do, and really it's more the clients or customers, the people that they serve that I relate to. It's that empathy. I don't know. I just kind of have always had that. I kind of feel like it's something you have or you don't. Now, if you have it even just a little bit, you can kind of certainly grow it and grow into that. I don't know. It's just relating to people and trying to put myself in their shoes, whatever they need. The work that I do, we work with other nonprofits and share their stories.
It's really like, it's not something you do, it's who you are.
Well, thank you.
And it's really special to see.
Well, I try, and I'm not perfect. I've made plenty of mistakes, and it is what it is, but I do try to always, at least make up for it, and try to move the needle forward. And I think non-for-profits are a great way to cope, to give back, even if everything's going right in your life. And if things are going wrong, you need a place to kind of, I don't know, help this world out, maybe make some amends. There's tons of, and in Naperville, I mean, there's hundreds of nonprofits.
There's so many.
It's crazy.
Especially starting this
Yeah.
venture. I'm like, I can't keep up. There's so
But
many.
but they do great work, and so to share their stories, it's just it's an honor to be able to do that. So yeah.
Got it. And so if anybody wants to get in touch with you or connect with you on socials, how do they do that?
Facebook and TikTok, Kicking It with Kevin. That's a great way to know when I'm doing workshops, what I'm doing at Saddle Up, some sneak peek at dances, some demos, some instruction. I want to do more of that too, is like, as much as I need to have people come to my lessons at Saddle Up or my workshops, I know not everybody can make it, or some people want to learn from the comforts of home. So being able to do more videos.
If people want to come dance with you at Saddle Up, when are your lessons?
Yeah, so great question. Glad you asked. So lessons with me are Wednesdays at 7, Fridays at 7, Saturdays 6:15-ish. Saturdays can be a little early for people, but it's a great way to coming off the heels of dinner, have an early dinner. That is a great time for especially new people to come out, a little less crowded. We start an hour earlier on Saturdays because we have live bands as well. Thursdays, we've also got a fantastic instructor with Judy, Boot Scootin' Judy, on Thursdays. So she's kind of in between my Wednesdays and Fridays, where she kind of has her own flair and taste, and she brings in her dances, and it's all good. So really, you can learn Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 nights in a row. And that's really unprecedented. There are competitors in our area. Great. Not going to say, have nothing against them.
Yeah, but everybody knows Saddle Up.
Well, everybody knows Saddle Up. Yeah. And listen, they can have all the success in the world. There's no reason why multiple businesses can't do their own thing. But we're the only ones doing it 4 nights a week.
If people want to attend one of your workshops, how would they do that?
Good question. Again, follow me on social. I tend to make a post and pin it at the top of my next workshops and all of that. Again, so somewhat fluid in that, but with the idea that it's going to be mostly the third Sunday of the month. We're also, I don't know if I even told you this. We'll be doing, starting in March, the Itasca Park District, doing more of your real beginner dances there. So that's kind of cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to make that one probably more ultra beginner focused. It's an area of the Chicago area that I'm not quite as familiar with. Well, and they're not quite familiar with me or with line dancing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good space to be in. Of course, don't have to be an Itasca resident or member of their park district. It's open for anybody, but it's through their park district.
So if we have anybody listening who has thought about line dancing and has not given it a shot, do you have a piece of advice for them?
Yes, I would say come on out, maybe observe a little bit, stand back, kind of take it all in. If you want to jump in for the easy ones, I tend to shout them out. Okay, this is an easy one. Beginners, come on in and join, because I think there are a lot of dances that you can more or less pick up on the fly,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So when you're starting out, I would say come to Saddle Up, watch and observe, notice where a dance starts and ends, and then you can kind of get the idea, because really dances are broken down into counts of 8. Go onto my TikTok and you can see some tutorials, or again, there's something to be said about just taking it all in and recognizing patterns and learning how to do a grapevine or a jazz square, some of those terminologies. I
Yeah.
mean, just get started. Take that first, no pun intended. Well, let's be honest, pun fully intended. Take that first step.
No need to lie to them.
I know. Really take that first step and
Yeah.
indulge yourself. I mean, it's a great way to, again, there's so many benefits to meet other people and socialization, a confidence booster.
Yeah.
Most people don't get started because they're worried about how they're going to look. Who gives a darn, right? It's just get out there. No one's going to judge you, even if you're struggling a little bit. That's okay. Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
I started with 2 left feet, and look at me now. So I can do it. You out there, you definitely can do it.
Absolutely. Don't overthink it. Just come give it a try. Somebody says, who was it? I think it's another line dance instructor. They were like, we have people who stop line dancing for a lot of reasons, but it's never been Alzheimer's. Like, because you're
No.
forced to learn.
Well, they say that it slows down reduces the risk of Alzheimer's because of your,
yeah.
you have to remember it works the brain. It's that mind, body, and even spirit
I mean,
connection, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot that happens within the body. I'm not a doctor, so I don't really want to get too much into that, because
yeah.
I'm not really the best,
Me
most
neither.
credible on
I
that.
half understand it.
Right, me too.
How old is Erna?
Well, we've got so we've got Erna, for context. We have got a dancer that is like 90 something years old, and she's the sweetest, cutest little lady, and she comes and dances.
Shivers is her favorite.
Shivers is her favorite.
Some people do Sudoku, other people line dance.
And, and it just goes to show that, at whatever age. And again, if we want to, I do birthday parties, I do special events, backyards, that kind of thing. I've done weddings, and I tailor those to, if you've got somebody that's a little bit more, I want to do exclusively country, I'll keep it to country. If you want people that want to do exclusively pop or hip hop, or maybe people want to do a little bit of both. My workshops, I kind of, again, tailor them differently to different groups of people.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks for tuning in to Aligned and Local. I hope you're feeling inspired and connected to the amazing people and businesses that make our community thrive. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It helps us share these incredible stories with even more people. And remember, when you're looking to buy, sell, or refinance, I'm here to help you navigate all of your real estate and mortgage needs with ease. Let's align your goals with the perfect plan for your future.